Hello and welcome to week 12. So we are definitely starting to get into the home stretch. And so I hope that last week you enjoyed getting into the domain section of the textbook. So last week you were looking at physical development. And so one thing that I wanted to make sure that I do each week is to let you know how these developmental domains are actually played out in our CHD curriculum here. So what you will find in 120, it truly is kind of a foundational course where we are going to be talking about a lot of different topics. But then what happens is all of the other classes that you take after this one are going to actually build upon what it is that you started learning in this course. So when it comes to the developmental domains, you're going to kind of find that for each one of them, we have a course, sometimes two courses, that actually are going to directly align with that particular developmental domain. So when we were looking at physical development last week, which is going to be the fine motor, the gross motor, and then health, safety, and nutrition, so that really aligns very closely with the Health 135 course that's required for our certificates and for the degree. So this week you're going to be moving on to the cognitive domain. And so normally when we are talking about the cognitive domain, we're really kind of talking about the math, science, and social studies concepts that are going to be taught to the children. And so that is going to be our CHD 146 course, which is math, science, and social studies for young children. So this week, when you look into the Blackboard, you're going to find, I put a cute little video here. When we're talking about cognitive domain, that's normally when we typically seem to think about kind of academics in general. And this little girl is just absolutely amazing. So I thought you might enjoy just seeing what children are capable of. But you'll find the PowerPoint for this week, and as I promised, the milestones is going to be in each one of the folders as we are talking about the domains. So when you look at the milestones, when it comes to the cognitive domain, that's going to be the red section of the milestones. So when you look, the cognition and general knowledge is normally where we're going to find the standards that relate to the cognitive domain. But what I want you to see is that the cognitive domain is set up slightly different than all of the other domains when we're looking in the milestones. So when you look here, you start to see that in each domain you have different strands. But when it comes to cognition and general knowledge, we have strands, but then we have substrands. So you're going to see that strand 1 is learning about mathematical concepts. But then you're going to notice that we have substrands A through G. So those are all different parts of the math that we're looking at. Then when you look at strand 2, learning about the world, you have substrand A and B. This is really where we're kind of looking at the science. So scientific knowledge, scientific inquiry, and exploration. And then strand 3 is kind of the social studies, learning about families and communities. So we have history, geography, economics, and families and communities. So one of the things I wanted to make sure that you understood is that even though we're not going to be teaching geometry to young children, the fact that we're helping them with their shapes is setting them up for success when they do geometry. Making sure that they're familiar with written numbers, that's going to help them with any math that they're going to be doing in the future. So I don't want you to think with the math, science, and social studies that we're pushing those higher order subjects like biology, but what we are doing is we're providing the foundation of what they're going to need as they go throughout school. So as I said, the cognitive domain is the red section of the milestones. And so you're going to do the same thing that you did last week. There's 2 videos for you, but you can see that they are a total of 18 minutes, so it's not going to take you forever. But when you do your journal, follow the same guidelines that you used last week. So again, your 5 biggest takeaways, but do a discussion about them. Don't just do bullet points. And then do an application piece. So I think that's really going to be it for this week. The next couple of weeks are going to follow the same pattern, where we're going to talk about a different domain. I'll show you where they are in the milestones, how they align in our curriculum, and then you'll have a video or videos to watch with a journal. So I hope you have a great week learning about the cognitive domain, and I'll see you next week.